You are crouching in the deep, golden brush of the Pleistocene savanna. The sun is a searing weight on your shoulders, but you do not feel it. You are completely still. Your lungs fill in a slow, silent rhythm. 300 yards away, behind heat shimmer, and a tangle of acacia thorns, a herd of antelope shifts nervously. A modern human would see nothing but a blur of yellow grass. But you are not a modern human. Your eyes lock onto one shadow that does not belong. You don't just see the animal. You read the twitch of its ear. You read the wind off a single bending blade of grass. You open your mouth, and out comes the exact distress call of a gazelle calf. The herd freezes. A predator turns. You raise a wooden spear, your shoulder ratcheting back like a loaded spring. You wait. You wait. You release. This is not a story about primitive cavemen stumbling through the dark. It's a story about apex predators, about a living machine so perfectly tuned to its world that it could do things we would now call superhuman. For most of our history, we did not survive by hiding. We survived by outseeing and outhearing and outkilling everything else alive. We picture our ancestors as frail apes shivering around a fire, waiting for technology to save them. The truth is worse than that, and stranger. The ancient human body was an arsenal, sniper-grade vision, a pathogen alarm wired into the nose, shoulders built to throw a killing blow, a gift for mimicking any sound in the landscape, and a read on each other so total it looked like mind-reading. Even our sleep was a weapon. Same biology, same genetic code. Entirely different humans. Start with the eyes. The modern eye is going soft, trapped indoors, locked onto a lit screen a few inches from the face. The ancient eye was built for the horizon. Anthropologists working with hunter-gatherers like the Hadza in Tanzania keep recording eyesight that makes the modern 2020 standard look like a low bar. More photoreceptors, faster processing, enough to track a sprinting animal across chaos and camouflage. They could pick a leopard out of dappled forest light by catching the wrongness of its spots. They could read an animal's health and exhaustion from its gait, half a mile off, but spotting the target was only step one. The kill needed a piece of biomechanical magic. The throw. Look at a chimpanzee. Pound for pound, it makes us look like children. It can tear a door off a car, but it cannot throw a rock fast enough to kill a rabbit. Its shoulders are built to climb. Around 2 million years ago, our lineage got redesigned. Our shoulders widened. Our collarbones shifted. The upper arm bone twisted, letting the arm cock back at an angle that shouldn't be possible. We grew elastic ligaments that work like thick rubber bands. When an ancient hunter drew back to throw, he wasn't just using muscle. He was loading energy into his tendons and letting it snap forward at terrifying speed. We became the only animal on Earth that could store violence and release it across a distance. That throw let a hairless ape crack the skull of something enormous from 30 yards away. It was the first ranged weapon. We were the weapon. To pull prey in close, they used their voices. The human vocal tract is unlike anything else alive. A dropped larynx, a tongue that moves like no other animal's, fine control of lips and breath, all of it letting early humans copy the sounds around them with unnerving accuracy. They didn't just grunt. They became the forest. They became the savanna. From what we can reconstruct of early hunts, people lured in prey and predators alike by faking the right calls, a mating cry, the scream of something dying. They could sound like a wounded rabbit to draw out a fox. They could sound like a lost calf to stop a fleeing herd. They turned sound into a weapon, and they did it together, coordinated to a degree that looks like telepathy. We need meetings and group chats to agree on lunch. Ancient bands moved through lethal country in total silent sync. Not magic, just a brutal sensitivity to the smallest signals. The flicker across a face, the catch in someone's breathing. Live your whole life beside the same 30 people, with death always close. And your brain wires itself to their nervous systems. You catch their pupils widening. You know what the hunter beside you will do before he shifts his weight. In the middle of a mammoth hunt, there's no time to talk. They moved as one thing, a single mind with a dozen bodies. But staying alive wasn't only about the hunt, it was about not becoming the meal and about the wars you couldn't see. Long before germ theory, long before the first microscope, we ran a pathogen alarm on instinct. Smell and disgust evolved as a front line against disease. Ancient humans could smell sickness. The compounds thrown off by an infection, by rotting meat, by fouled water, hit the brain with an instant, violent no. Disgust isn't something culture taught us. It's older than that. It's the brain shoving the body away from a source of death. They could catch the faint sweetness of rot inside an animal that looked fine. They could smell the change in a stagnant pool. No lab told them a cave was dangerous. Their noses did, their stomachs turned, and that reflex kept them alive. And when the sun went down and things started circling the camp, we ran our last trick: sentinel sleep. We're told a healthy night is 8 unbroken hours in a dark, quiet room. That's a modern invention. For hundreds of thousands of years, 8 hours flat on your back got you eaten. Tribes survived by not sleeping on the same schedule. The genes that make some of us night owls and others early risers aren't a design flaw. They're a defense. In a Pleistocene camp, the group never fully slept. Someone was always awake. An elder up at 3 to feed the fire. Teenagers holding the edge of camp until dawn. The tribe was a fortress of overlapping shifts. They slept in pieces. They slept with one ear on the grass. They were never all the way defenseless. Then the world shifted. Farming arrived, and everything tilted. We stopped chasing our food. We stopped listening to the forest. We built walls of mud and stone. We domesticated wheat, and somewhere in there we domesticated ourselves. Dynamic survival became grinding. Repetitive labor. We built the first cities. We packed thousands of bodies into tight, filthy space. The gifts that kept us alive for 1,000,000 years turned useless, then turned on us. Nobody needed the perfect throw anymore. We had granaries. The long-range vision faded as we stopped scanning the horizon and started staring at the dirt in front of the plow, and later, at ledgers on a desk. The pathogen alarm got swamped. In the early cities, the stench of waste and livestock was so constant that the nose just gave up. We normalized the smell of sickness. We normalized drinking downstream from our own filth. The diseases our ancestors would have smelled and walked away from. Cholera and dysentery and tuberculosis ripped through the new towns. We swapped instant, instinctive avoidance for the slow, brutal grind of building immunity. We survived it. We also died by the millions doing it. The near telepathy shattered too. You can't read a stranger's face in a city of 10,000. The silent bond of the tribe gave way to laws and contracts, and everything said out loud. We went numb to the people around us. Sentinel sleep became a problem instead of a shield. The modern world runs on everyone doing the same thing at the same time. The factory whistle, then the alarm clock, demanded we all wake together. Night owls got called lazy. People who woke at 3 got diagnosed with insomnia. The thing that kept our ancestors safe from big cats became a disorder. We gained walls, we lost our armor. Take Schöningen in Germany, more than 300,000 years old. Down in that earth, researchers found the oldest fully preserved hunting weapons we've ever dug up. Wooden spears carved from the hard wood at the base of spruce. The astonishing part isn't the wood, it's the balance. The center of gravity sits in the front third of the shaft, exactly like a modern Olympic javelin. The people who carved them, probably Homo heidelbergensis, older even than the Neanderthals, understood weight and flight and the body in a way they never wrote down. Picture it at the lake edge, a herd of wild horses pinned against the mud. The hunters don't rush. They throw their voices to confuse the animals, barking like wolves to drive them into the deep muck. They pick out the weakest with that long-range vision. Then a dozen arms draw back. The tendons stretch. The energy lets go. The spears hit with crushing force. That's not a primitive scramble for survival. That's a coordinated strike carried out by weapons made of flesh. Those weapons are still in you. The hardware never changed. You can still hear the old system, usually mistaken for something broken. That sudden wave of dread in a loud, crowded room? That's the near telepathy misfiring, drowning under hundreds of strangers your brain is straining to read. The combat veteran who stays hyper-vigilant and can't sleep through the night? That's sentinel sleep switched on by trauma, screaming at the brain to guard the tribe from whatever's out in the dark. Old capabilities still firing with nothing left to point at. We look around at our phones and our towers and our medicine and call technology our greatest achievement. Mostly it's a pile of crutches we built to replace the powers we let waste away. We traded the horizon for a screen. We traded the throw for a button. And we traded the silent language of the tribe for the noise of a crowd we can't even read anymore. We stopped fighting the predators. We stopped running from the cold. But we never stopped fighting the oldest enemy of all, the limits we keep putting on ourselves.